Everybody, welcome. I thought I'd come in and say hi. Have a little post-trial discussion, post-week discussion on this case. It's a new case that we're covering. Been covering it now, for the last 3 days, and I think we've got a few of you out there. Some of you might be catching up. I don't know if you're live. If you are, say something in the comments and give me something if there's a question you have. But let's talk about where we're at with this case as we come out of day 3. And this is an interesting case because it's kind of a mystery. There's a lot of questions about it. It's one of these old fashions, as I call it. I called it the other day in comments. It's the old fashioned reasonable doubt case. In other words, the defense really has this guy wants to, the state would not take a plea bargain. And for those members who have had the ability to go back and look at the deep dive on this case, if you're a member, all right, and shout out to all 24 members that we have right now. We appreciate you. And all members are able to get my exclusive member deep dive background reports that I will do for each case that we cover. I post it up normally on day 1. Sometime in day 1, I'll post it up in the sometimes it takes to day 2 because these things take a little while to compile and write and put together. But it's a deep dive compilation of the background of the case, and I will utilize articles from across the nation. I do some research and pull it all together and then try to tell a little narrative tale for you to understand the case and the background of the case. But in this particular case, the prosecutors, they absolutely would not give him a plea bargain, which I understand. I mean, it's one of these deals where, you know what, they want to lock this guy up because of the heinous nature of the crime, and I really truly do understand it. So to me, I think it's interesting when you have that situation because it means he either has to plead guilty, which, hey, if he pleads guilty, he's going away for a very long time. He's going away for the rest of his life. There's no chance. So I've always said, roll the dice, go to trial, ask questions. And he's got actually 2 very good attorneys that are on his side. He's got one particular attorney is very, very respected attorney who is known for being an aggressive trial lawyer. And you see he's getting a good defense. And the defense has raised questions. And the questions are, and it's truly some reasonable questions to be asking. Number 1, what we know about the timeline. She goes to the house, right? We know that they're together at the house. We know her phone and her car leaves the house at 12:45 a.m. The question is, and we just saw some of the important evidence that's going to be the linchpin circumstantial evidence that's going to link into this. But the question then becomes, how do you tie him to her leaving the house? What if she leaves the house and she goes off? You already heard the implications from the defense. She had drugs in her safe. She had cash in her safe. What was her background? What was going on? Look, some of these things don't make any sense. One great question. Why would somebody with a dead body in their car drive through a gate, which would bring attention? If somebody sees it, he's going to get pulled over if he's got allegedly a dismembered body in the car. Where did the dismembering happen? What tools were used? How did he get rid of them? Again, they've tracked him all the way to the house. They searched the house. Now, this is the disturbing part about this case. They search the house. They find a house full of blood. They find a house full of horrors. Looks like something out of Saw. But guess what? It's not her blood. So the question is, did he do something like this before? And hit to who? But they don't find anything linking him to the dismember. They even find saws in the house that could possibly have dismembered her. But the blood, the blood related to all of this, there's no biological material, there's no DNA found in his house that links him to her. And there's a lot of pretrial back and forth on how much the state's allowed to bring in of what they saw. But there's a mystery here. Whose blood was it? Now, there's also going to be someone, once they tell the story, I love the way the state's presenting all this because they're presenting the timeline, which tells this interesting story. The car's seen all over the place. There's this figure going. You see an individual who clearly is him. We've seen the bus video. I mean, we can clearly say that he walks away from the vehicle. This could be one of those cases where the jury could actually come back and shock the courtroom with a verdict for him blowing up the car, but say, can we say he killed her? And that's what the defense is going to come in with this and say, wait a minute, you know, while we may think he did, you don't get to just come into court and without evidence tie him to her death and say he did the big one. Because there's a lot of potential possibilities that could go on, and it could say, was he involved in it? Did he do? He's not involved. He's not charged with a conspiracy. He's charged with doing it. And the question is, how does he kill this woman in his apartment? No disturbance from the nosy neighbor downstairs who apparently hears everything, and we haven't heard his testimony yet. How does he get it done? And that's why there's a trial happening, and that's why it's going to be very interesting to see how this case ends up shaping up in the debates that's going to surround this case, because this defense team is a very experienced defense team. They're very experienced in difficult trials, and we're going to get to see that we're going to get to see them at work. So let me go in here. I wanted to go in, and I'm looking. I got my report up because I wanted to see what trial, because he was the defense lawyer was involved in a very high profile trial that I'm sure people will know. I'm going in to find it. But let's see here. Let me go in. Bodie, actually, you're 100% correct. I'm going to tell you that is absolutely what does happen. They do give the defendants meds, especially defendants who depending on him. I don't know for a fact that he's medicated, but they do that, especially if he has any type of mental health problems or concerns or anything like that. Let me go here. Early on the defense tactic, I'm looking through here to see who digital footprints. We're going to get to the defense. Community outcry, remembering towards justice. The trial begins. Let's go through this here. I can't. My brain is not working, and I really wish I could remember the damn case he was involved in. Give me a moment here. We'll walk through the surveillance. Perhaps someone else say his death might have been determined. Court TV. This case isn't one victim. God, what is the case? It's right at the tip of my tongue. But it's a case. It's a well-known case that he was involved in. But he's a very well-respected defense attorney, which I could tell. I don't know if this guy hired him or if this guy just took the case on, because some attorneys love to just be involved in trials. Like my dad. My dad would have taken the case for nothing, for the simple fact that he would have wanted to, he would have wanted to do that. So Beryl Kubler says, "Thank you. I really like Detective Donner. What a lovely, classy lady." Yes. Detective Donner, she's like right out of a book, in my opinion, right out of like she reminds me, you could put her right in the, I don't know if you guys have ever watched Bosch, the detective series. She reminds me of someone out of something like that. District Attorney, Tony Cotton, that's it. Tony Cotton, he defended the Slender Man case. He was involved in the Slender Man case where he got the little girls. In fact, it was just up for one where one asked to be released, but he was involved. He defended one of the Slender Man defendants, and that was where these girls claimed that Slender Man told them to kill one of their classmates. In that case, he had to counter just a mountain of evidence, and he got a not guilty by reason of insanity. But Cotton has been aggressively defending this case from the beginning. So he's a very, very good, very, very good advocate for his client, and he's somebody who fights. And that's what you're seeing here. I mean, where they're raising doubt around this case, and what they're going to argue is they're going to say the jury must hold this man accountable for what can be proven, not for what they think might have happened, not for what they think could have happened, but they need to show that the state has to come with proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And what the state's trying to do right now, and again, I think it's going to be enough, but we'll see. What the state's trying to do right now is say, listen, does it make sense that if he's seen leaving the car and we've tracked the car and we see, then we have to say he's the person in the car. And if we know that her leg ends up on the beach and she's dismembered, the question though becomes, again, her body's found all over Milwaukee. So if they don't, and it's not necessarily seen where they track that car all night long. So how does the body parts get all over Milwaukee? And again, where does the dismembering happen? Are we supposed to believe he did it on the beach? Maybe. I don't know. But, and then how does he not get any type of DNA or blood of hers in his house, on him, on his clothes? I mean, it's insane. And that's why there's a trial right now. That's why Tony Cotton is sitting here making arguments, or able to make the argument. That's why he's going to be able to stand in front of that jury. And again, the weakest part of the weakest place he has is going to be that car blowing up. But what they're going to say is listen, there's no DNA on the car. There's no fingerprints on the car. There's a video of him leaving the area, and there's some lady who says, it was him. It was him. We don't know, though, if she was talking about him specifically or was she talking about someone else. We can infer that it's possible. But beyond that, that's not proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And remember, I just covered the case. We put it up. We didn't do it live. I covered. I just put the hearing up as a regular video where there was a preliminary hearing of a young man. Okay, very similar to this preliminary hearing of a young man, young autistic man, got shot. Okay, he was dropped off by an Uber outside of a house. The young man is in an altercation with this guy who comes out because this young man took a picture of the house to try to send someone where he was at. This young man says, why are you taking a picture of my neighbor? Or this gentleman comes out upset. Why are you taking a picture of my neighbor's house? The neighbor comes home in the middle of the altercation. He testifies, yeah, I saw my neighbor with a gun out. They're talking. He tells the young man, you better run or you're going to die. The young man takes off running. Now, there's video camera. You see an individual pursuing this young man. It's very hard to tell who that individual is. Now, remember, we have testimony from a neighbor, and this is why this is important. That cases like these do not always stand up in court, where you think, okay, it can be inferred by all this. That young man, and you can go back and watch this on the channel. Young man testifies that I'm running, and he says, I don't look behind me. I just get shot twice in the back. So we have evidence right now, and this goes to preliminary hearing, right? And the judge ends up dismissing the case, right? And I'm surprised by it. I think everyone was surprised by it, but the judge's theory on it is and says, listen, we don't know who. We have a grainy video of a supposed guy, but we don't see him shoot anybody. We don't have video of the shooting. We don't have any way to know, just because he walks out of his house with a gun, that doesn't mean that he's the guy down the road, several blocks down the road, as he's pursuing him, that he's the guy who shot him. The victim says, I didn't see him. I can't say for certain that was him. Or he says, I don't know who shot me. And they dismissed the case. I assume at some stage it will be refiled and they will go back and collect evidence in a case like that. Young man got shot in the back. He should twice. But this is a very similar scenario where you have events that we can almost say for certain who did this. But when you're looking at it in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and you're looking at what evidence links this guy to this crime, and you have a very good defense attorney who's coming in to remind the jury that, listen, you don't get to just convict him because you don't like him. You don't get to just convict him because you think he might have done this. You actually have to be shown evidence that he did this. And while, yes, it looks bad, while, yes, he's in the range of where the car's at, but do we have proof he was in that car? No, we don't. Can you infer from X? Yes. Can you say, okay, they were together? Yes. But this is no different than that case where the judge says, yeah, this guy's standing there with a gun, tells this young man in front of his neighbor, run or you're dead. The kid runs. There's video of the kid running. There's video of a shadowy person pursuing the kid. And then they go off camera. And there's no eyewitnesses to the shooting. Or if there is, they're not willing to come forward. And the kid says, I don't know who shot me. I mean, I think we could infer that it was probably the guy standing there with the gun who was confronting him. But guess what? The judge said no. That's not enough. You don't have an eyewitness. You don't have anybody tying it. You don't have a, you know, ballistics evidence. I don't know where the ballistics evidence was, but I mean, there should be ballistics evidence, you think, tying it to the gun of the neighbor. But the state didn't present any of that in the preliminary hearing. So in this case, again, this is the type of scenario where, again, the law doesn't just allow us to make assumptions. You have to have proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and the state is obligated to eliminate all doubt, and that's what they're being called upon to do in this case. Do I think they will? Do I think they will be able to do it? I do. Do I think Tony Cotton is going to work magic in this case? I think it's just far different than Slender Man, where he worked it out for a mental health defense. As you know, got them found not guilty by by insanity. This case is totally different. I think a jury, and if I was sitting on that jury, I mean, I think you find a way. You don't release a serial killer in training, back out in the wild, because that's what this guy is. Because if you go into my report, and give me a moment here. Give me a moment here. Let me go into let me go in here to my Google Drive. Maxwell Anderson. Hold on, guys. Give me one more. All right, guys. Sorry about that. I had a delivery package come, and all right. Let me get this pulled up here and share my screen of what I was trying to do in the first place. My dog is still worked up because of our delivery package that came, and let's see here. So we're going to add this. All right. Let's just. All right. Where is my? All right, there we go. Now, all right, so this is the report here. This is the members only report that I put up in the member section. So I'm going to kind of run this down. This is the background of this case, if you're wondering, different, about the background and things that happen in the case. I do this now for every single case that comes out. We do this background deal. We will do updates as well throughout the trial, members only pulse, daily pulse, and try to put these out. It takes time, so I may have been a little bit too aggressive in what I was trying to do, but this is talking about what I was just talking about here, where as 2024 rolled on the case State of Wisconsin versus Maxwell Anderson, wound its way through the courts with such extreme allegations. Hold on one second, guys. I do apologize. All right, guys, I apologize. My dog, he gets very upset when the UPS guy comes, and he just came and delivered something. Let me see if I can get this better framed in here for you guys to see. But this talks about here how, like I said, Tony Cotton was geared up for a fight. He's a veteran attorney, and he's the gentleman with the nice hair. This talks about his background. Now, basically, the defense's argument here, they actually tried, as you're going to see here, they tried to sever the case, the arson case, because and this is important. This is why I'm bringing this up, because today that's exactly what you saw the proof of. Today you saw the strongest amount of proof that's going to come in, besides his friend who's expected to come in, and I'll bring you to that part. But there was there was DNA, blood, fibers. I mean, look, his house, something happened there, but not to her, unfortunately, crazily enough. There was all this blood indicating he had to have done, this isn't the first time. Now, how much of that gets in, I don't know, but we haven't got to that part yet. I don't know what they're going to be able to show, because they weren't able to link it to the case. In the defense attorney here was trying to separate the vehicle explosion and say it was two separate items because the vehicle explosion and the burning up of the car is the sole evidence against him that the state's going to be using to link him to this case. And that's you know, hold on one second, guys. But you know, the but that's going to be the main evidence, and what we've already seen. What we haven't seen, I don't think we've seen the cell phone footage yet. What we saw was the surveillance footage. So they took us on a video surveillance footage, but they're also going to show that her phone was alive. But here's the thing: his phone was back at his apartment. So they're going to show where she was, but I guess what the state's going to try to show here is that he ends up where her car ends up. His phone's back at the apartment. Her phone and her car are traveling everywhere. And the problem with that is it doesn't necessarily prove he killed her. I mean, I think you can infer it, but it's really not as cut and dry as I thought it was. When I first heard about this case, I'm thinking, oh, this is cut and dry. But it's not. And this is what makes it so interesting. Because it's not as cut and dry as you think. It really is not. And that's what this case is going to be about. And it talks about it here. As you see that one of the biggest deals here, or biggest pieces of evidence in the state's case is going to be the Google, Life 360, Instagram, Facebook, Verizon, and AT&T data. And it's just going to simply say that he ends up where the car's at. I mean, like I said, it's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it, because this should really be a simple case, but it is not a simple case. It is not a simple case. And this could lend a surprising verdict, but we'll see. I feel like the jury's going to figure out a way to convict this guy if they get all this information. Knowing the information I know about the guy, I would not hesitate to convict him on everything, because I feel like some of this I hope this can get to the jury, because otherwise, if it doesn't, if Tony Cotton is successful in keeping this out to the jury and the jury gets a sanitized version and they don't learn that he had a killer's dungeon at the home, and he had a room all ready to go to carve bodies up, filled with some other person's blood, and maybe he didn't chop her up. And again, I do believe they are going to get in. There's an informant that they're going to be getting in, that's going to come in. That's a friend of his who's going to say that he was brought over there and shown this place in March of 2024, I believe, because this happened in April 1st. And I think they're going to say it was like in March, early March, like March 5th. And he's going to say that this guy told him that it was his plan was to lure a woman to the apartment, chop her up into pieces, and then spread her body all over Milwaukee. That was her plan. My son had me on his tablet, so he was just bringing that to me. So I apologize if y'all caught any feedback from that. But anyways, so that is, I think that, coupled with knowing that he ends up where the car's at, he's the last person with her, but still, it's still very difficult to understand how this all went down. And I think that's going to be the problem with this jury. But I hope it's not, because I really think this guy's a dangerous guy. I mean, this guy's a nut job. This guy's like, he reminds me of, I saw someone in there saying him and Taylor Business, if they got married, who would win that fight? Who would dismember each other first? I don't know. Probably her, judging from the way she's taking down like 6 prison guards at a time. But the point is, this is a problem, right? This is a problem for the state. But I like how they're telling the story. I'm really enjoying it. And it's really great the way they're putting together this narrative. They're telling it like a Dateline NBC documentary, just telling it with all the visuals, showing where the car was. And if you're following this, I'm going to be getting all these clips out later today. You're going to see it. Make sure you get into the descriptions of these videos, because it tells the story and the narrative that's being built. So it's very important that if you're watching these videos, go back and even if you don't even want to watch the videos, just go in. And if you want to get the narrative of the case between, it's going to be told through the no breaks editions and the testimony and clips, and you're going to get a real good flavor for what the story is and the questions being raised by the defense, because we're going to be fair to the defense, because every single time they go out there, they're raising legitimate questions, and those questions are going to be in the questions asked section. So dig in there, review it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are, because I want to hear from you. So, but I just want to jump in. Like I said, I wanted to jump into that. I encourage all of you, if you want to have a deeper understanding of these cases, if you want to have access to the members only deep dives, justice reports that have come out, background reports, we will do case reports. We'll do, like I said, I'm still working on, there's going to be case books that are going to come out for each case. I'm working on the Shore case book right now. That's going to be almost done, and it will be released to members. Members will get it, access to it. All you got to do is become a member and you get access to all of this, and you're going to have links right in the community section. I hope they stay alive forever. I don't know if they do, but they should. You get a link where you can download it and keep it forever. Keep it as a souvenir as you're watching the case. Keep it as your guide. And we're going to be ramping this up here as we get going and continue to build this out to try to get all of this out, because this is about documenting these cases. It's about watching the case. It's about explaining what's going on, and it's about helping you see what's happening in the criminal, how this is working. And again, it's cases like these. This is a great case. This is the stuff that I love, because this is where you see the defense is holding the state to its burden, and this is one of those cases that really seems like it shouldn't be complicated at all, but it is complicated because there are gaps. Because there are gaps that, in this case, they did not get the defendant to crack. They did not get a confession. They did not get. There was no DNA linking him to anything. Yet he's the last person with her. And another case that comes to mind similar to this, it's like the Timothy Harrington case. Who the hell would have thought Tim Harrington would have gotten a mistrial? Of course, he's back in jail now waiting for a second trial, which I think is going to go a lot different now that they found the body. But look, in that case, they had him all the way up. They had him they had the victim arriving right at his house. And again, similar situation where he drives the car all the way to the parking lot where it's abandoned. They see him running away. He gets in with a friend, and that jury struggled with it. So look, juries are, especially when you're talking about 12 people getting together in a room, juries are curious things, and you're not going to necessarily convince 12 people to convict somebody of something where there's holes, gaps, and questions. And really, again, I'm kind of biased because I went in and dug into this case and did the research on it, which is sometimes I don't like to do this, but I want to provide this for members, and I want to do the background work on these cases to get you guys all the background information that I can. But knowing what I know, I think it would be a danger to have him out in the community if he's going to be trying to go out and his goal is to chop up and dismember women. You can't be doing that, or anybody. That's not someone we can have living out in the wild thinking that that's okay. And it's not okay. So that's a problem. So I'm very concerned that if Tony Cotton is successful and gets this guy off, or gets this guy only convicted of arson, and they can't get, and they don't get the conviction on the big M, well, we're going to have a problem, because he's not going to be in jail for the rest of his life. And this is a guy that I think needs to be institutionalized for the rest of his life, because I don't think he's safe or fit to be out in the street. If you go into the lengths that he did to create a dungeon, to decide that you're going to chop people up, it's like something out of the movie Saw. That's really what this should be called. It's like the Saw, real life Saw movie trial. But that's where we're at with this case, guys. So keep watching. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a long trial. It's slated to go to 2 weeks. They're talking about 250 witnesses. Now, it's not 250 individual witnesses. What they mean by that, to clarify that, because I saw some people in there going, 250 witnesses, Steve, what the heck? Well, yes, there's going to be 250 witnesses, but there's going to be witnesses. What I love about the way they're doing this is they're telling a narrative in timeline fashion. So they're not putting one witness up and say, tell us your whole story, they understand in this case that we need to have crystal clear clarity on exactly how this went down, and they want to take the jury through a movie like, novel like narrative of how this occurred. And the way they're doing that is they're putting these people on, or saying, okay, tell us about what you did on day one. Then when we're on to day two in the timeline, they bring that witness back and they say, tell us about what you did on day two and day three. And they're bringing them in to talk about what happened in the investigation sequentially, the way it happened in real time. In that, I think, is ingenious of the prosecution in this case, because it's telling that story where the jury's left with this idea that says, okay, who the hell could have done this besides this guy? I mean, unless he's part of some sort of human trafficking ring, or I don't know if I may have got myself in trouble with YouTube's stuff, but unless he's in some sort of ring or something that's trying to, kidnap females and harvest their body parts, well, what the hell was going on here? And where the hell's her head at? Look, that's the other thing too. You guys, I think it was already said in opening statement, they haven't found her head. Like, that's the horrible, heinous thing. Her family doesn't know where her head is. And to me, this is where I think that maybe prosecutors should have tried to create some area of a deal. I mean, there's no parole board in the world that would let this guy out, I don't believe. So you give him the opportunity for parole if he's well, although I think in Wisconsin, I don't believe you get parole. Yes, because of the Mew case. That was the first Wisconsin case I ever covered. You don't. So it's life. That's it. But maybe they could have given him some sort of, sentence that, I don't know, or given him the opportunity to tell them what he knew, and the judge could have given him something less than life. But the bottom line is, I don't see how this guy would ever get out in the street by any parole board or judge or anything. So I guess they had to do what they had to do. But it's really heinous. It's really terrible. What her family's had to go through for this case is absolutely unspeakable. I've only had part of her body returned to them. And the question is, how the hell did he pull it off? How did he do it? I mean, remember the car. They tested the car. There's not blood found in the car. There's not like all this blood in the car. How did he get the body there? And where was it at? Because you might say, well, he did it on the riverbed. You heard the testimony. They didn't find a whole blood trail there. I mean, if you're cutting a body up on the way, what are you using? A hand, like a battery operated handsaw on the riverbed? Where did it happen? And if there isn't any sign of it in the house now, of course, maybe he wrapped it up in a tarp and threw it all away. But if he did that, then why would he have another lady's DNA in there? It's so bizarre. The whole case is just, it's mind-bendingly bizarre. And this is where an experienced attorney like Tony Cotton is going to run through that and take that to the jury and say, hey, you can't convict this man. But we got to hope that they do, because otherwise he's back out and it will happen again. I really do believe it. But we're in day 3, or day 4 coming up on Monday. So check it out. We'll be getting the Dominguez case up here later today. For those of you that are following, if any of you come across this stream, I apologize, because it's very difficult, because the stream comes out, the way it's being streamed is in multiple parts. And it's very difficult. There's delays in getting it out and getting a hold of it. So I prefer to try to put it all together and just stream it together all once the trial is over. So that's going to become a PM stream. I'm going to do that. I apologize, and I apologize as well for the school board meeting that snuck in there the other night. I don't know how that happened. I really don't. Somehow it happened, and a school board meeting snuck in. I don't know if I got hijacked or hacked or something, because it was very odd. Because I went back and tried to check, but we put out part 2. I edited out the school board meeting, and we moved past that. So that will be on tonight, probably in about the next 30 minutes or so. I will get that up, because what I try to do is let the court day be done and then compile it together and then get it streamed out to you guys. So that'll be coming up all weekend long. We will be putting out the rest of day 3. We will be catching up on the Karen Reed case, which, hey guys, wow, let me tell you, that case is getting very interesting in my opinion. And I still want to know. I want to understand how you can be hit going 75% max throttle, and we're supposed to believe that he gets hit with a cell phone in his hand and that cell phone ends up perfectly underneath his body, and it ends up underneath his body. And guess what? He's bleeding from his injuries. The blood should be pooling underneath him. That's exactly the direction we'll go if he's laying face down. So there should be blood all over that phone. That phone should be damaged. There should be. You're going to tell me that impact is enough to break hands. It's enough impact to shatter his occipital bone, but yet this phone survives pristine. Doesn't make any sense. Does not make a damn bit of sense. There's no way. And if that phone isn't broke, the case is a joke. And that's why, in my opinion, the prosecution's case is a complete joke in that case. And they shouldn't be prosecuting the case. They should not have pursued a second trial, because there is no way you can rule beyond a reasonable doubt out. And again, we haven't got to the heart of the case because they chose to not call certain witnesses as part of their case in chief, which was a smart move. And again, another case that I really enjoy seeing how Hank Brennan has presented the case, because he's doing it extremely smart, and he's allowing Bev Canone maximum ability to try to play defense for the state by keeping out as much of the third-party culprit defense as possible, by making the defense put the witnesses on, controlling the scope of the questioning, controlling the scope of the testimony, and letting her completely control how much is going to get in front of that jury, because previously they were called as part of the state's case, and then the defense is able to come in and they're talking and they're telling their story and they're already in on it, and then the defense comes in and hammers them on cross. It's going to be a totally different story when they got to bring them in on direct, and they're going to have to rely on Judge Bev to allow them the wide latitude they're going to need to get what they want out of it. And you best believe she'll be jumping in there. So that's going to be fun to watch as the case progresses. But anyways, I digress. So just want to jump on here and say hi to everybody. We are going to be rolling back out to Justice Watch Live. I'm working on getting that rolled out, and I'm hoping to be also collaborating here with my good friend Jody Bolt. If you're watching this, Jody, I'm going to be reaching out to you very soon, and we're going to hopefully get some collabs going with the Karen Reed case and discussing that case and discussing your hard work that you've put in on it, because she's put on a massive amount of work. Go check her out, Defense Rest. She's got a database full of information. You got to check it out if you're interested in the Karen Reed case at all, because she's got a lot of info. So check it out. Anyways, with that said, guys, I appreciate all of you. We got 5 left. I can tell you right now, because of everything that happened with the strike and everything, we're getting held back a little bit right now, I think, by YouTube. They're not surfacing my streams like they used to. So if you can share these streams, if you can like these streams, it's more important than ever right now, because unfortunately I beat the strike. We went out, we challenged it legally. We won. Huge victory. Everything's been lifted, back full rights, but I do believe they're going to keep me in purgatory for a little while, probably for the full 90 days that I would have been in anyways, but I don't know. We'll see. But it's just pretty crazy to see the differences between then and now. But it is what it is. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep reporting. We're going to keep coming to you, and I'm going to keep bringing it to you. I don't care if I'm bringing it to one of you, 100 of you, or 1,000 of you. We're going to keep going. So you want any? Also, the one other thing I'm going to start doing too. So listen, your comments are not going ignored, even though you might feel ignored, because I don't do a lot with comments yet. I'm going to be doing some streams where we're just going to go through the comment section of some of these videos, and I'm going to talk about your comments. So keep the comments coming. Comment on everything. Share with me. I don't care if you agree with me. I don't care if you disagree with me. Let me know your perspective. If you have a question, if you have something you want us to cover, we will cover it. I do try to go through and read each and every one of them. It is tough, and we're doing it. How you doing, Bodie? Very nice to see you. Very nice to see you. So we're going to be wrapping this up, though. So, but make sure you put it in the comment section. And like I said, dig into the descriptions. The keys here, the key here to really getting the most out of these videos and what we're doing. And let me just pull up one here. I'll pull one up while we're on air, live on air here. Let's just go to a playlist. Let's just go to this case, right? All right, there's my YouTube. my side of YouTube. So let's just see here. We have Maxwell live. So we're going to go into, where's my, oh, there it is. Maxwell Anderson case begins. So let's just go.
In a courtroom.
So
our goal is to treat all parties equally.
Right. And we don't need to watch that. So we'll go into the description, as you can see right here. So this is what we're talking about. So make sure we're up on, see how this is framed. There we go. All right. See how this is coming through. Good. Okay. So you guys can all see it. So there we go. So you can see this is video one. So if you start at the beginning of this video playlist, you go in, the first thing I recommend you do is you go into the YouTube description and you go into the description of the video, because this is where it's going to begin. It's going to tell you what's going on. It's curated, written by me, worked on. We put this together. A lot of hard work goes into it. So check it out. Respond to it. Take the time. A lot of you might not even realize that it's there. But if you're going to get the full treatment, it starts with the announcement of the video, which is always going to be in the community section. So you go in and you're going to see a little teaser about that. You come here and it's going to give you the meat and potatoes. It's going to talk about different things. It's going to talk about the charges. It's going to talk about how it helps the state, how it helps the defense. It's going to give you key moments. So if you want to, if you've already watched it, maybe you missed something, you can go in and you want to jump to,
defendant has entered a plea of not guilty, which means
and you want to go in and see it. It's going to take you to the first count. It says the defendant has entered a plea of not guilty. It's going to talk about each charge, what they are, how to evaluate witness credibility.
You must avoid bias, conscious or
and there it is. And it starts right in there. And it's going to talk about all of law of presumption and burden of proof. Questions raised. So here's some questions that were raised by this video. If the state bears the burden of proof, how strict would a jury be in holding them to it? How many jurors actually resist media influence in the digital age? Does the explanation of intent give too much leeway to assumptions from circumstantial evidence? And if motive isn't required, what prevents pure speculation from slipping in? Look, I'm posing these questions to you so you can go in and say, hey, tell me what you think about it. Give me your answers. What do you think about the questions? How do you think they're overcoming it? Do you think the state's overcoming these questions? These are the questions being posed. So we move on, and let's just get to the first. We'll go to the witness here.
It's the PNG file.
And you can see here, this is a gruesome discovery. Kicks off the case with Detective Joanne Donner of the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office. And we walk jurors through the moment she arrives at Walmart Park and encountered what will become the investigation starting point: a severed leg partially buried in the sand. Donner, a veteran investigator with over 2 decades of experience, details the brutal conditions, sleet, rain, and crashing waves as she made her way through the isolated, mud-slicked shoreline to assess the scene. Comes down again, we break down what's going on, what's important in the testimony. Then we go in, how did it help the state? Donner provides the jury with a visceral first look at the crime. Her credibility and composure make the state's version of events tangible. The rugged terrain and deliberate tool marks help eliminate accidental theories. How did this help the defense? Well, Donner wasn't involved in the follow-up evidence processing. So weather and terrain conditions could have distorted evidence, and a leg alone proves nothing about cause or time of death. Questions that were raised. How can we trust scene integrity with such tough terrain and bad weather? Were the clothes found just random debris from teens hanging out? Why wasn't the Coast Guard allowed to assist when evidence was still vulnerable? Why didn't Donner process the gloves found later, and who did? How thorough was the search if she wasn't present for most of it? And can a single limb establish M beyond a reasonable doubt? Donner's testimony goes beyond documenting, and it goes, so you can see, again, I'm not going to sit here and read all of this to you just because you're probably not going to like that, but just for those of you wanting to understand, that's, part of the experience that you can have if you want to dig deeper into the case. And then you can get into, like I said, we've got the earmarked key moments, where you can go back and easily get to the key moments of the testimony, or at least what I tell you the key moments of the testimony are. And then, of course, there's always a comment that I drop in there, just a thoughtful comment to try to spur along any thoughts. Detective Donner isn't just a graphic. This is the one we have on this. So I'll show you guys here. Detective Donner's testimony isn't just graphic, it's strategic. The state wants jurors to visualize a body part placed with intent, but the defense says a leg alone isn't proof of murder. Oop, said the word. Thoughts, and give me your thoughts. So again, as you're going through this, this is meant to challenge you, and it's meant to get you to interact with what's going on. And even if you're not interacting or wanting to interact necessarily, it's also meant to kind of be a guide, to guide you through the narrative of the case. So as you're going through, you're going to get a narrative that's going to start to develop with questions, with concerns, with various different, if there's some sort of legal issue that came up in the clip, it's going to be all explained there. Go back into the Karen Reed case. It's all there. So check these out. The no breaks edition, look at that as kind of like, it's a highlight. It's the best place. If you're behind on a case, go to the no breaks, watch the no breaks and get caught up, and go into the description. It's going to give you synopsises of each witness that testifies. It's going to give you, a really great way to catch up and get the flavor of the trial going. And of course, you can watch no breaks normally in no more than 5 hours, depending on how long of a case it is. Most of the time, no breaks are 3 to 4 hours, because a lot of courts have a lot of breaks, a lot of sidebars, long lunches, and you can get through them. And then we're taking one more trip to show you guys. And go here to, let's see here. So we will go to view your channel and go to post. So this is, I want to make sure you guys all understand where everything's at. This is where, and I do post things up for subscribers too. So some of these reports I will put out, case pulses and things out or summaries and things that I want to put out. There are things I will put out. I'll even give free previews where I'll give away some to subscribers. But this is where you come in, and again, like I said, this is where you can get your taste. So take this for a second. New testimony clip just dropped. Day 2 of the first 8M trial brings us inside the critical first days. Detective Nora Donegan, clothes on the bed, purses on the couch, but no Sade. Officer Nicholas Kropp traced her digital, tells you right away what's going on. And then you go over here and you go to the video itself, and here we are. And then you go into the description, and there it is. You're going to get a deeper, more a deeper dive into the video, how it helps the state, questions raised by the video, by the testimony, what it all was. Go in and look at the comment. There's always going to be a comment there that's going to help spur. And if you catch the live premiere, I always try to premiere these, even though sometimes it doesn't always help with the algorithm, with my place in the algorithm of the video, but I figure it is what it is. But by doing the premiere, I can put it up, give you guys a place to talk among yourselves. I will come in and out of those. So anyways, I'm just going through this right now because I want you guys to understand how to get the most out of the channel. And then of course, I promise to be showing up more in all of my streams, and that's going to be happening. And then we're going to be doing Justice Watch Live events, where I will be doing my Justice Watch Live podcast, which I think I have 29, or we still got to do 30. I don't think we've done 30 yet, but we've done 29, and we may have done 30, and I have to go in there and double check, but I'm pretty sure we're at 29, and we're going to be rolling out, getting that started again, where we go and we talk about the cases that we're covering. We'll go in and we'll watch videos together, like body cam footage, interrogations, things of that nature. We'll sit there and we'll talk about them and we'll break them down. I used to do those late at night. I got in trouble with my wife because she said, you got to sleep. So anyways, but we're going to be bringing them back, trying to put them more prime time if we can on the weekends and things as the schedule allows. So just look, get subscribed, turn on your notifications. That way you don't miss anything. Check out and if you don't want notifications on understood, go to the community section. You're going to see everything that's going on there. There's a lot of information there. You can get in there and learn a hell of a lot about the cases. You can go in there. If you're a member, you're going to get that's where all your members only reports are going to be. That's where all the meat and potatoes are. So anyways, with that said, guys, I'm going to jump off here. Like I said, this was just a little impromptu jump on. I will do this. I'm going to start doing this much more frequent on the breaks and stuff. I appreciate each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate everybody that comes in, watches a video, likes a video, and helps to bring attention to the cases, bring attention to what's going on in our criminal justice system, because it's important. Because you know what? This is the one thing that all of us, believe it or not, could find ourselves having to deal with one day. The more you learn, the more you know, the better you will. And justice always, remember, works better when we watch. So I'll leave you guys with that. Talk to you soon. See you for certain on Monday. Maybe I'll be going live again sometime this weekend. And for certain, I will be dropping a whole bunch of videos over the weekend for this case, Karen Reed, and in a few minutes, probably around 7 o'clock, I will get the Dominguez stream up and running. So I will see you guys then. Come in, drop a hello in all the chats, and we'll go from there. So I'll talk to you guys soon, guys. And remember, justice always works better when we watch. So watch.
The system's rigged, man, it's time to break free. Eyes wide open, gotta see what I see. Standing on the front lines, fighting for the truth. Lift the veil of lies, it's time to be the proof. Take a stand, don't you back down. Raise your voice, let's shake the town. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world of justice, united and free. United and free. United and free. Marching with a purpose, we're taking it higher. Fighting through the struggle, igniting the fire. No more silence, we'll make the noise loud. Together in this battle, standing strong and proud. Injustice fades when courage aligns. Rise up together, break the confines. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world of justice, united and free. United and free. United and free. So rise up now, it's our time to shine. Together we'll write a new paradigm. You paradigm.